The Athene Real Talk Podcast explores controversial ideas to stimulate debate and active thinking. These ideas do not always reflect Athene's personal views. Welcome to the Athene Real Talk Podcast.
He has been called the best gamer in the world, hands down.
World-famous gamer and philanthropist Athene.
Gaming for Good, it's called, has raised more than $20 million.
Using his notoriety to raise money for charity.
On activism, science, culture, and self-development.
Proud to have him in the studio today. I would not want to take you on in a video game.
So the first thing you need to do is to understand what drives you on an emotional level. And the way you understand that is by going through your life, through your childhood and how you grew up, and basically see at which parts what decisions you made and how those decisions influence your behavior and such. And my example is I had low self-esteem. When I say low self-esteem, like it's not you have low self-esteem or you don't, it's like in different degrees. So my degree of low self-esteem was not so severe. Like I didn't feel worthless or something. I just felt worth less. Like I felt that certain people have more value than me, and therefore I needed to get more value by doing certain things. Very basic. That's how it works. And this comes from a lack of safety, basically. I felt unsafe. And let me explain you the examples. So first example, the first time when I had it is my best friend for several years basically distantiated himself from me to be part of another group. And I felt bad about it. And I thought it was because I had some kind of lower value. That's the first time when I experienced that I had like lower value or whatever. So I first tried to fit in with that group that he joined, but that group didn't really accept me. And then I started, after some time of trying and stuff, of fitting in, I started distantiating myself from them. I started to create an identity of like, I am better than them, to basically deflect the sense of lower worth, basically, or of lower value. That's how I tried to rationalize it. So I distantiated myself from them, created an identity of I am better than them. I started to develop judgmental behavior. I said like, oh yeah, this person is dumb, this person is an idiot, I'm better. Also got a new best friend. The two of us like more distantiated ourselves from also our school and stuff, always went on our own, and we were like playing football or whatever. And we just felt like all these guys are idiots, basically. Like we know it better, they don't understand, but we are more intelligent than they are, and we distantiated ourselves. We started to get identity out of being better. That's how we coped with our sense of low self-esteem or low value. So then later on, after I finished school, this sense of being better than others prevailed. So when I looked for a job, what was important is earning a lot of money, a job that gives prestige, a job where I can perform and be better than others. And I also wanted to be really fast at things. So what I did is take a banking job. A banking job, you can make a lot of money, while at the same time, it's like really like you wear a suit and stuff, and you can really feel better than others. You make a lot of money, and you also have a lot of career perspectives and can make a lot of money. So you can really feel really good and hardworking and stuff towards others. And also in university, I always tried to be the best and basically feel better about myself that way. So then at a certain point, while watching a movie called Up in the Air with George Clooney, basically made me realize that money is not something that makes you worth more. It doesn't work. Like even if you have all the prestige and stuff, all these things, they don't give you so much value. It's just not enough. That's how I felt about money, and I suddenly felt like money doesn't give me what I want out of it. It doesn't provide me more value. And I made quite some money and I bought a car and stuff, but I just had a feeling of this is not it. So basically I had a certain breakdown. It's not so severe, but I was lying in my bed and really felt like bad because I thought like, man, like all this shit that I'm doing is basically boring and useless. So what I came to was like the most value I can gain is by working on myself, like growing myself and helping others. Because I remembered that whenever I helped other people, I really felt good about myself. Like they also gave me good feedback and stuff. So this became my new objective. I wanted to grow myself, to become a better person, and also to help others because it really increased my value. So after I realized all this, I basically understood that this is not it. All this value and stuff is not really it. Like, all I want is to feel value. So logic gives me a lot of value. Logic is the thing that gives me the most value. So I need to basically adopt logic. I basically realized that what is most important is to have logic as my core value. I really wanted it on an emotional level as well, because I realized that I can't outgrow with my current core value. So I realized that logic would provide me with more value, and understanding that basically helped me. So then, like, how did I do it? I'll give you an explanation step by step, very structured, how you can do it. So first, you realize what your drive is, what your emotional drive is, what is your value, what drives all your actions. And most of the time, it's a lack of safety. Something connected with a lack of safety, just to give you a hint, it might be comfort, like you feel more comfortable and therefore more safe, or you feel like validation seeking, so you also feel a certain level like worth less, and you try to seek validation to basically feel better about yourself. All this comes from a lack of safety. So if you understand what your drive is, your emotional drive, by going through your past and such, and really understanding what drives your actions, after that you cause dissonance. You need to experience dissonance to make the leap. So basically, you compare your old core value or your current core value with logic. You compare them, and you really have to realize how much better logic is. And you need to feel a lot of dissonance with your old core value. You need to experience a dissonance of like, this old core value is just not cutting it for me. I am wasting my time, or I am doing something that is not worth it by hanging on to my old core value. What I need to do is to adopt logic, because it's much better. You really need to experience a lot of dissonance. So then, after you experience that dissonance, what you need to do is to understand that you're much better off with logic. So you need to understand that. And for that, you need to understand that logic has all the answers, or most of the answers. That logic will make you feel safe. Logic will give you more value. Logic will give you meaning in life, will make you feel better, will help you in every aspect of your life, and will solve all your problems. When you understand that, because for that you maybe need certain kinds of knowledge that you need to read up on. So if you understand that, then what you need to do is to get yourself in the emotional state, so your dissonance, emotional state, and then you need to realize the beauty of logic. You basically need, on an emotional level, you need to understand that logic is beautiful. Basically, you need to, on an emotional level, connect with logic. You need to understand that logic is not cold, and logic is not just rational robot mode. You need to understand that logic is the reason why you exist, is the reasons why everything that is beautiful in the universe exists. All galaxies and stars and moons and planets that you know, and Earth, all the plants and animals and everything, your biological body, your ability to think, all your friends and family and people you know, things that you have, like a house, everything, the internet, everything, games, everything that you know and value exists because of logic. And if you understand that, how much beauty is in logic, and what can help you understand that is, for example, watching Cosmos, like the new season of Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, like the last episode especially, Unafraid of the Dark, is episode 13 of Cosmos. This episode gives you really a sense of awe, like really lets you experience how amazing logic is, how insane basically all that you experience actually is, how big of a leap logic gives you, because everything around you is based on logic. So if you understand that and you really connect everything that you value and is beautiful with logic, you can make the emotional jump and connection of having logic as your core value, what you value the most. And that is what it did it for me. And I can tell you, when I watched the last episode of Cosmos in the really like dissonance emotional state and adopted logic as a very beautiful thing, right? I was very emotional state at that point. I also cried. I cried a little bit because if you realize how amazing and awesome the universe and everything that you live and exist, how amazing and awesome that is, you just start to put things into perspective, and it's just amazing. So yeah, it's amazing to be alive, and you realize that everything that you experience is because of logic. Yeah, it's a quite enriching experience. I don't know if this helps, if people can relate to this. Like, I can just say, like, the steps are: understand your drive, create dissonance between your old core or your current core value and logic, then understand that logic can help you, get yourself in an emotional state, try to understand logic on an emotional level, that it helps you and connect it with awesomeness or beauty or whatever works for you. Love maybe works better for you, and basically that's how you can connect it emotionally. Is logic your God? For me, the religious example didn't work so much. For me, it's more like logic is all around me. Like my body, my environment, everything is based on logical patterns, based on particles, based on gravity and everything. Like without it, I wouldn't exist. So it's not really my God. It's more like something that is completing me, something like that. It's like the missing puzzle piece.
It's 5:45 a.m. right now. I'm playing the latest Real Talk on Twitch TV on the background while typing. Paradigm is shifted and too overwhelming to go to sleep. All this clarity, all this energy. The most logical thing to do now is to show the people that it's working right now. It's literally the best thing I can do right now. I grew up in a dysfunctional family and therefore with a lot of fear. I created an ID to distract my true self so I would not be confronted with my flaws. I had comfort and safety as a core value because of this flawed worldview. This old ID existed out of acting tough and creating a self that was not in line with reality. At the beginning it worked, but reality will always come and get you. So every time I got confronted with reality, I tried to flee from what I truly am by manipulating the mind. By creating situations that would create dopamine, drugs, alcohol, adrenaline, fights, attention seeking, I tried to flee from my true self and hold this fake ID. This eventually led to me laying in a hospital bed 2 times for using drugs that created panic attacks. And 1 time for being in a fight where someone pulled a knife and stuck it into my main artery. I almost lost my life because of this. You would think this would make me stronger and live life on a good way again. But because of the low self-esteem on a fundamental level, I was still skated. Actually a weak organism that I always experienced a lot of dissonance. I was so misguided that I thought I needed the validation of other people, while the only one that could prove me what I needed was the true self. So I needed answers. I read a lot of books for information, but nothing concrete enough to apply. Nothing that my mind could really grasp. I checked psychology books, spiritual books, books like Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. It got me close, but I never got far because I missed crucial information about how to overcome this crisis. Until this week, this one person, the first chain of this neurological revolution, Bashibu Maza, also known as Athene, gave me the most concrete, useful information ever. Switch your core value to logic. By learning that I am the reason why purpose exists, and that everything around me, the whole universe, is a projection of what my brains think it is, I know the external and the internal are linked. We are one, and I need to take care of it. I am the universe and I shall take care of it, and the best I can be, all by applying this one true universal law called logic. It's like there are all still things to do, things that I would used to call problems because I didn't know I could solve them, but now I just see as things I need to do and act upon. I know now that the thing I saw was my story. It's just a memory muscle that I can use to solve things right now, nothing more. Thinking in a diachronic timeline is false when you identify with it. This whole idea was a survival mechanism, one that evolution tried, and now it came to the conclusion that it does not work. At the beginning it's uncomfortable, but you will have full clarity. It's so exciting but scary at the same time at first. All of the people around you just look lost. Every time I bring reality up as it is, they experience cognitive dissonance. We live in a scared society and people are being controlled. I was selfish and lost in greed, eating for the kick instead of eating to grow. I didn't care for other people because I didn't care for myself. I see it all now, all my mistakes, all my flaws. I still got some things to do, things I ignored for too long, but with this information and neuroplasticity, I know I can achieve anything, and I will. I will make a difference with like-minded people and live a valuable life. I'm saved, and I want you guys to know that you will be too, soon. If you accept it or not, reality will come for you guys. And to be honest, it's not even that scary. It's lovely. I'm free because I am. Thank you, Athene and your team. Anyone who values this or has any questions, contact me. You can mail me or have a Skype call as well. It's worth it. Believe me, your problems will be solved. Let's start a movement. This is a random guy on the internet. So if these people like Unique Active or that other guy are coming and saying like, this is all just a fad, how come people are going through their biggest life-changing experience after listening to the Real Talk and getting it? Let me tell you, you are living a life of suffering, and this can set you free. And the funny thing is, it's going to happen either way, whether you like it or not. It's going to happen either way. You know why? Because this is reality. Logic always prevails. And it's going to happen with more and more people. This is the start of a psychological revolution. For real, I see it. I'm a scientific person. I don't just come and make these claims. It's working. Look at the subreddit. You think we are making all these threats to make it look like it's all real? It's working. Do you guys understand that? You are submitting yourself, your will, for what provides you safety. It can be comfort, it can be validation, it can be whatever. But if you truly understand that logic can give you that safety more than anything else, and you embrace it, and you trust it, you change, you think differently, you wake up. Do you understand that? So when you come with your arrogant, cocky bullshit talking to me while not having any clue, you're literally talking shit while you don't have an absolute idea on how logic can save your fucking ass, for real. It's unbelievable. And the only reason why I'm saying this so aggressively is so you experience enough dissonance and you think. Because that's where it starts. It's that simple. Stop lying to yourself. See why you do what you do. Go to your core and accept logic. And you shall set free. And you can come to me and say like, but man, you're talking about logic. Even your argumentation is founded on logic. Logic is your creator. Logic is beautiful. Logic is what brought everything. Do you understand that? And whether you like it or not, that's how it is. I'm really sorry to tell you. Athene, what is the real meaning of logic? Logic is the mathematical patterns that have brought about what you are, reality, the universe, everything. And if you look at evolutionary biology, you understand that your design is to move forward. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't even exist. So your ability to even ask yourself the question that has evolved in order for us to survive and thrive, and on top of that, all your desires that dictate your life is all with the reason to move forward. And understanding that and going into it allows you to understand that following that path, that pattern, is exactly what you're designed to do. And that's the logical thing to do. It's what is logical. You follow logic, and if your knowledge changes, your conclusion changes. Like Eradane says, you are based in the wrong idea of evolution. What is the real meaning of evolution? Listen up to me. When you talk about meaning, right, you're talking about a human concept. You created it. Meaning is a human concept. So if you take humans out of the equation and you say, what's the meaning of universe? You don't even understand what you're talking about. This is literally contradictory. Because when you take humans out of the equation, it's not just that you have meaning and meaningless. Both do not exist. You are literally the creator of meaning. So if you take away humans out of the equation, it's like when you think, how does a blind person see? A blind person sees as much as you see through your elbow. You take it away, the concept doesn't even exist. It doesn't even make sense to say, does the universe have meaning or is it meaningless? Because you're taking the subjective reference frame out of the equation. And that's a big flaw that a lot of people do. So that's why you understand that meaning is exactly defined by us, by understanding us. Because what is us? If you want to go to us, it goes even further. What are you? In order to understand yourself, you got to go back. You got to see what are you are. You go look at evolutionary biology, neuroscience, evolving, moving forward. And then you realize, like, this is what I'm designed to do. This is my meaning. This is my purpose. And everything else is illogical, unless you have a good argument. It's not just a click, by the way. Don't call it a click. Call it salvation. It's a spiritual awakening. Like, for real, that's really what it is. It's about faith in logic. If you convert to God or to Islam or to Christianity, that's not just a click. That is literally a spiritual transformation. Same with this. You convert to logic. You literally start believing in logic. You put your faith in it. It's like you believe in God, you believe in logic. So it's not just like a click. You start believing in God and you change your habits. You change as a person. You start praying, you start following the rules or whatever. With logic, you faith in logic, you change. You start just behaving logical. But you need to believe it. You trust it on a subconscious core level. Well, I'm using the word spiritual. It's communication, so people get it. Salvation, convert, not the greatest words, but it's better than click. Click does not explain it. A click, you can have it and then it goes away. This is a new era. Camisa says, holy shit, I just realized that you don't need any religion because logic gives you safety. Yes, logic is our new God. It's our creator and we will embrace it, whether you like it or not. What the concrete knowledge is required to make the click? Okay, so basically, you need to understand that logic is beautiful. It's love, it's meaningful. Logic is not something cold and scary. Logic is what created us. Logic is the reason why we live. Logic is what brings us safety. Logic is everywhere. It's inside us, it's everywhere. So you have to first understand that. You need to have evidence that it works, that it gives you safety. You need clear examples. For example, if you're a good poker player, you know that logic allows you to make more money. You understand by looking at evolution biology that logic allows you to give purpose. You need to understand that. Then what you need to do is you need to understand what drives you. So you really got to go to your core, really the essence of what you are, and figure out what is it that drives you. Is it safety? How does it translate itself into comfort, fitting in, family, whatever? You go to the core, you try to figure it out. The moment you realize it and you see it, you go like, it is comfort that drives me. You realize that the reason why it's comfort is because you submit your will to what gives you safety. And if comfort is that, or if family is that, you realize that logic provides that even better. And the moment on a subconscious level, you embrace it on an emotional level, you go through a catharsis. And that is what's happening with people. And that is what's going to cause a revolution, a psychological revolution, for real. And it's already happening. The world is going to change, guys. In the next 5 years, the world is going to change. And you guys are looking at the start of it. Don't believe me. Just look at people. People being on drugs, people being depressed. Just get insta-enlightened. It's the path to salvation, guys. Salvation, not in a spiritual, you can call it spiritual, whatever. We are finally ready to embrace our true creator, which is logic. You have to have also unconditional trust in logic, and a leap of faith is required. You need to blindly trust it because you jump in the unknown, because you don't know what logic will give you. The moment you do it, it's even physical. You start even almost shaking. It's an emotional thing. It's on a subconscious level. You got to do it. Listen up. Everybody has the ability to change what they truly value the most. Because what you want as a human being is to survive, and safety is what gives you all the release of dopamine. And it connects itself to something like comfort or whatever. The moment that you get comfort, your dopamine gets, released. Your reward center gets stimulated. But if you change what you core value to logic, then everything you do that is logical will reward your reward center. It's neuroscience. It's how your brain works. So you redefine on a fundamental level what triggers your dopamine, what triggers your reward center. And if you equalize that to logic, like your rational part of the brain and your emotional part of the brain merge to one. And it's a revelation. It's ecstatic. You become different instantaneously. No duality anymore. Because what you value on a fundamental level is your reason.
Subscribe to youtube.com/AtheneWins. Watch the live stream at twitch.tv/AtheneLive. And follow The Real Athene on Snapchat.